Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is Craig Peters here from SoundIron, and in today's walkthrough, I'm going to be taking you through Oddball, which is our newest synth library in which we sampled a few different inexpensive Casio keyboards from the 80s and 90s. We put our own little spin on them. There's a bunch of ambiances and sound design stuff that we did with the library, so it's a lot of fun. And when I first think of this library, it kind of reminds me of, in my younger days, whenever you would either be at your own house or someone else's house, and someone always happened to have one of those cheap Casio keyboards kind of laying around. So definitely playing around with this kind of brings back a lot of those old memories, but this is definitely a way more fun and usable version than anything I ever got my hands on. So I'm going to be showing you guys some of the sounds. We're going to be going through some of the different ambiances and effects presets. So stick around and let's dive in. So Oddball comes with a fun collection of pads, stings, drones, and different types of sounds you would probably find in older Casio keyboards. But with some of these, we did put our own spin on them. So I'm going to go ahead and just play through some of the different articulations that come within layer 1. And these are also going to be in layer 2 as well. And then eventually we'll get to the ambiances and the effects presets. All right, so yeah, let's just go ahead and play through some of the different sounds now. And you can't have an old school Casio keyboard without these kind of sounds. Then you got some sub sounds. There's also some drum kits in here as well. Some old school drum sounds. We've definitely come a long way as far as drum sampling, but you know, if you want to take it back old school, this is definitely the way to do it. Now, another feature that I want to make note of is this little icon right here. So if you click this, you'll be able to take whatever note or sound that you like and then spread it across the keyboard. So if you like this sound, you can go ahead and push this, find the note or the key or the sound that you want, hit that, and then now you've spread it across the entire keyboard. So you had this. So you can kind of take that and then turn it into a little bit more of a playable instrument. So whenever you see that icon available, definitely play around with it because it's cool to take instruments and sounds that maybe aren't necessarily a sampled instrument, spreading it across the keyboard and seeing what kind of things you can come up with. So with layers 1 and 2, they share the same sounds as some of the ones that I demonstrated and also more. So what's cool about that is they have their own separate LFO and filter and arpeggiator. Before we get into that, I want to play you guys some of the sounds that come within the ambiances layer. And you can use this to overlay on top of different arpeggiated rhythms, leads, and all kinds of different stuff. Sky's the limit with this. So let's go ahead and play through some of the ambiances now. There's 30 different ambiances. We'll play through a few of them to give you an idea of some of the sounds that come with Oddball. All right, so earlier I was mentioning how you can use the layer system to kind of maximize what you can do with the library. So having multiple things going on is definitely a time saver and, you know, lessening your track count and that sort of thing. So going into the advanced features of the library, so you have an LFO and a filter and arpeggiator per layer. So you can really get a lot out of it. So let's say for layer 1, we have this Get this kind of pluck sound. Let's just go ahead and turn on the arpeggiator. So we have that going on, and then let's say we want to have an ambience going on at the same time. So if let's say, oh, it's a little too loud, you can go ahead and turn it down here. And let's say you want to change this pattern. There's a bunch of presets that are already made, so you can kind of... So that's kind of cool. So one of the things to look out for in the library, if you look underneath each layer, you'll see this little speaker icon. If it's grayed out like that, it means that it's not on. So you have to make sure that this is clicked and the speaker icon is lit, just so you know that it's working. So let's say in layer 2, let's go ahead, let me bypass these and pick a sound. I don't know, it's kind of cool. Let's see what happens. So that's kind of cool. Let's see what other sounds we got. Let's add in this vibraphone. I like vibraphones. Let's see what happens. So maybe we can go to layer 1, make this a little bit slower. Let's try something a little bit more simple. And then we'll go into layer 2. Let's turn this arpeggiator on to see what happens. So I want to make this just like a straight 8ths. It's kind of cool. It's got a vibe going on. And then one of the things you can do to make it even more interesting is you can pan some of the different layers, or you can also choose how you want to fade into them. So let's say layer 1, we want to assign that to layer A. Layer 2, we want to assign that to layer B. And what this means is if you look over here where you see this X fade, it goes from A to B. So whatever you put on layer A is going to be at the bottom. So if let's say you map that to your mod wheel, A is going to be at the very bottom of the mod wheel and B is going to be at the very top, so you can fade in, which is pretty cool. So let's go ahead and just... And I didn't map the ambience layer or anything, so it's going to be going the whole time. So now you can hear I'm fading in that vibraphone. So you can have different rhythms going on, and depending on what you're working on, you can have these types of sounds evolve and go in and out, and it just really saves on automation time, which I find very helpful. So. All right, so now let's go ahead and play through some of the custom effects presets that come with the library. There's 20 to choose from, and these are definitely fun ways to kind of get a feel for the library and also get a feel for what you can do with the library. So let's go ahead and play through some of those now. All right, so that about wraps it up for this walkthrough of Oddball. If you want to learn any more about the library, make sure to go to soundiron.com. I definitely want to encourage you to subscribe if you haven't. We got a lot of really cool things coming up this year. Like this video, hit the notification bell to stay up to date every time we post a new video. And until next time, I want to say thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.